Hey everybody, and welcome to a frigid version of the Weekend Trader on this Sunday morning, February 14th, 2016. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done this. I appreciate your patience and indulgence if you have been following along. What we will do is basically start back into the journal. This is my belated initial journal entry for February 2016. Now we're going to talk a lot about the balance between trading and life. I talk a lot about what I'm doing well in trading, what I'm not doing well, perhaps as I look to continue to maintain, sustain, and improve performance. We'll talk a little bit about the Twitter poll and the tweet I sent out yesterday on golf caddies. I think you'll find some very interesting, evolving perspectives at this end. So anyway, as I approach a 55th birthday here in less than a month, I have really not discovered, but continue to realize that it is extremely important to keep my body and my mind and my spirit as strong as they can be if I'm going to have any chance of performing well in this business and in life. And so one of the things that I have done is, along with my wife, we have made a decision to embark on a 2-month Nutrisystem journey, which for me started a couple of weeks ago. For Deb, it just started this past week because she was out of town for a few days. Many of you may recall, probably about 6 or 7 years ago, I was in the MetaFast program as a client. Did really well there, lost about 30 pounds, but I had an issue really after I came off of that with weight creeping up, got into some bad habits. And one of the things I like about the Nutrisystem program is that there's I think more real food, if you will, as a part of the program, and it's largely portion control. It's great because you can buy your stuff ahead of time for a few months, sock it away, both frozen and non-frozen, and you mix that with local fresh fruits and vegetables. And for my lifestyle, where I am always on the go, and one of the things I've got to look at, by the way, is saying no to certain things. But I'm involved in too many things to a fault that I don't want to give up. That I feel that my mental energy and tenacity has to be at peak levels to have any chance of performing at peak levels. So especially in this trading business, obviously, which continues to be my number one business interest. So anyway, I'll let you know how that goes. I needed to lose really about 20 pounds, but it was as much for my mental energy than anything else. I've noticed a stark improvement even just over the past week. I think a little bit of withdrawal, if you will, off of some of the bad foods in the first few days, and I've gotten past that. And so hopefully it'll be a little bit easier going on. So I'll let you know how that goes. We considered a number of different programs. I've told some of you that it's interesting from a marketing perspective that Nutrisystem is marketed right now by, in terms of spokespeople, Dan Marino and Marie Osmond. Jenny Craig, for example, which we looked at, has Kirstie Alley. I'm not a big Kirstie Alley fan. She's probably a great gal, great person, love her. Just not quite a great admirer of hers. So I just kind of, it steered me toward Nutrisystem. And that's, as crazy as that is, it's interesting that the calculated risks that companies take when they decide on certain people and how those people are perceived by their client base or their prospective client base. From a businessman's perspective, I found that fascinating. So anyway, that's going on the health front. I'll keep you posted. So far, so good. Again, continuing to talk about life. I have had some major construction projects going on here at our home, which has taken up some time. And certainly on the community front, taking up a lot of time. Many of you know that we were involved very actively in the Walk to Emmaus in the southern New England area, and I have gotten to a point where we've asked to assume been asked by the board to assume some leadership positions, which is about a 3-year commitment. And so we're involved in discussions with them right now, but that's taking up a lot of time. In life, you have to decide what to say yes and no to, and what limited time we have here. And that is something that I know continues to change lives and has changed our lives, and continues to help evolve our lives. And so something that I want to continue to be involved in. So that is my number one activity outside of the business world, which requires a great deal of time and planning and commitment. And thankfully, we have a wonderful community of support involved. So that's again, taken up some time over the past several weeks, and really will continue to in terms of off business hours for about a three and a half year period going forward, which will take us from really ages 55 or so to 59. Anyway, I don't want to belabor that point, but again, we've always been transparent here, and I think we all have situations where we have to decide what's most important, life, business. For me, it flip-flops every now and then. I try to maintain a good balance, do a terrible job at it. I've got to start to slow some things down at times. However, trading will not be one of them. My business interest from a trading perspective remains as high as it's ever been. The highs, the lows, the frustrations, the mental challenge that it provides. It's a endeavor that I find is fascinating, and as I've often said, and in the book, the ultimate entrepreneurial experience. You eat what you catch. If you catch a lot, you can eat. Hopefully, not a lot anymore, but do some good things with that in ways that you wouldn't be able to otherwise. And I'm still learning lessons in that area about spreading what you make, spreading what you earn out beyond maybe the minimally modest ways that we contribute to charity, for example, with our efforts here on this site. So I think that there's some things that we can do to ramp those up. So anyway, I think life is a constant evolution, and I don't think you ever stop growing, and I'm certainly continuing to learn and grow and appreciate the help, the pushes, the shoves, the slaps at times. We're all here to help each other. Life's way too short. So anyway, in terms of what else is going on, market activity, trading activity, I tweeted out yesterday a question and a poll about trader caddies. Okay, and I want to bring Twitter up here real quick here, and I don't know how many responses we get. There wasn't a whole lot, but it was an interesting representation. 30 votes. Okay, 30 votes. So a very small sample size considering we've got 3,000 people following. But I said here there are pros and cons to traders using the equivalent of a pro golfing caddy, smart or not. More on the Weekend Trader today, and 83% said yes, 17% said no. And I say this is interesting from a couple of perspectives. First of all, think back to maybe 10 years ago or so, and I felt strongly, and I still feel strongly to a large extent, but maybe not as strongly, that we should learn to become as self-sufficient as possible in this business. And a few of you folks actually called me on that. One particular individual, actually, I remember I was driving in New Hampshire, and we had a phone call. I don't know if he's listening today or not, but we had a long talk about that, and I felt it was important, certainly from a training perspective, when I had my trainer hat on, or just from a self-survival perspective, it was important that we all learn how to approach this business in a way where we can become self-sufficient and we can become not non-reliant on others, so that we can preserve our capital, manage our business expenses to an extent where it allowed us to focus largely on our trading and its performance and the capital required for that. I still feel that way to a large extent. We've never done any training here where we have wanted people to continue with any sort of an ongoing effort, and I still feel strongly about that, because I don't feel that when we train, people should continue to pay on an annuity basis. I don't think that really is that beneficial. Having said that, and I say this with no self-interest involved because I'm not involved in any of these from a business perspective, the idea that pro golfers have a caddy got me thinking. And a lot of the books we've been talking about, the trading related, psychology related, golf is not a game of perfect, golf is a game of confidence, which I've started reading again lately, which came out many years ago, but I just never picked up, along with some of the other good books we've got, has got me evolving that perspective a bit, because I've seen that happen in my own game. And you may say, well, that kind of sounds interesting. You are promoting, if you will, self-sufficiency, but you are realizing that you aren't as self-sufficient or can't be as self-sufficient as you think you can be. And this gets back to the conversation I had 10 or so years ago. And that's a very valid point. It's a very valid argument. And I guess it is a bit of an evolution, especially as I've gotten into myself into a stage in my life and my age where, you know, I use an example of a golf caddy where, you know, just a subtle comment like, you know, remember to keep that shoulder aligned before the swing. Okay. You know, you take out the great pro golfers out there, you know, McIlroy, all these guys are at the top of their game, and you know, speed. And do you think that there's a reason they have a caddy? And do you think that these caddies every now and then are reminding them, just these little reminders that, okay, you know, you know, don't wuss out on this, you know, and make sure you carry the bunker, you know, so the golfers get it, they know the game, and we always look at the golfers as the performers, but the caddy, you know, how responsible are they really for the success of the golfers? And you go back to Tiger's heyday, where that's about the only time I can recall where there's been a lot of press involved with caddy selection and caddy changes. And I guess in Tiger's situation, it was as much a swing coach as anything else. But you know, why do they have these? And I guess I've come to the realization that it's because we do have finite capacity. We do have finite mental capacity, and we are certainly born and created to live among others and not live by ourselves. And again, this gets back to the conversation where a guy challenged me on that some time ago, and I'm looking back at that now and thinking that yeah, that probably makes certainly a degree of sense, if not far beyond that. And now I'm experiencing it in my life where, you know, I've got to be, or I should say it's very helpful to have someone remind me to keep that shoulder aligned, to lean into the shot. That's what's critically important for me at this stage in my trading. I know this business. Most of you folks know this business. But how can we remember it all? So, you know, those that have others manage our capital, good way to do it. Those of us that have a mix of others managing our capital and ourselves because we love the business, we love being involved, that's another way certainly, or just doing it all on our own, or, you know, managing our asset base on our own. And so, you know, I'm at a point where I need to have, again, that voice in the back of my mind. I need to have that caddy. And admittedly, part of me was saying, wow, what's happened to you? You know, have you lost it? And you know, and it might be true on some days. You know, we talked about the yips a few months ago, going through that process. But I will say that the last few months, the last few weeks, I've evolved into having a bit of a caddy alongside me. And you know who you are. And I found it to be incredibly fascinating and incredibly beneficial. And I'll share the challenges and successes I've had with that. The challenge, I think, is that the golfer still has to make the swing. You know, the caddy can remind, they can be a guide for the distance. They can be a great, helpful mental reminder. But, you know, the golfer's going to make the swing. The execution, we talked about this recently, it all comes down to execution. The planning, the being aware of things, but then executing, okay? So I'm still accountable and responsible for executing, okay? But, you know, when you're lining up for that swing, as much as you should just let it loose and not think about a whole thing, so I get that whole thing, especially with trading, because we can overthink this market to death and this business to death. It is helpful, at least I found, to have that voice with you. And so incorporating the two and balancing the fact that you have to make the shot and lean into it, and having a constructive caddy in a way that they don't get into your head in a negative way. They're not, you know, distracting you as you're ready to make the shot. You've established a good relationship with them. They know your weak areas. They know your strong areas. They're there to counsel and step in hard when they need to, but very aware of when to back off. That's, I think, the perfect evolution. And so I've been working through that process a little bit myself. And it's been helpful. I will say the last week or so, I've had the best performing week I've had in a long, long time. And so I'm intrigued by this. I'm intrigued by this because it's sort of contrary to some of the things that I've preached and I've believed in over the years. And maybe it's a realization of my own humanity and our collective humanity, in that, there are so many tools that we have, and like anything in this business, I think it's up to us to separate the wheat from the chaff, to understand what's helpful for us and what's not helpful for us. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If you find what I say completely puzzling and not helpful, please, I don't want to distract or detract from anybody's trading performance. I never want to. Um, if you find this entertaining but not helpful, I'd encourage you to change the channel and go somewhere else, because I would do the same thing at my end. If you find the tweets distracting, and I don't tweet that often anymore, but I'm trying to do quality over quantity, then again, please, it's to your benefit to allow yourself to be more productive by doing something else. So I find myself in that situation, and we have these great filtering devices in technology and all that. So that I want to share that. Again, we've always been transparent here, good, bad, ugly. It's a bit of an evolution here. I'm continuing to pursue that in a way that may even ramp things up a bit. Welcome to humanity. Welcome to limited finite capacity. And it's a nice time for me. Realizing that I don't have to manage everything on my own. And again, as your capital grows as a result of this business or other businesses that you're involved in, it behooves us to deploy those in a maximum way, to do so in a way where we're not just wimping out. To those who to whom much is given, much is expected. Okay. The more we get, the more we are expected to give and perform. And so I think it behooves us as stewards to maximize the opportunity with that which we've been given, because we've been given something for a reason. And to do so by ourselves is a bit tough. So I say this with no other interest other than to share what I'm living through at this end. I'm not in the business of all of a sudden developing a caddy business. We'll continue to train from time to time, but I can be a caddy, but I'm a golfer. I'm a golfer, and that's where my love and passion exists. And I think the world needs both. But I love being out on that virtual course. By the way, I don't golf in real life because I have a back issue, but in terms of the trading world, I'm a golfer, and it always will be. And you'll see me shank some shots. You'll see me make some incredible saves. You'll see me, have some record rounds. You'll see me off my game. It's all there. It's all true, every single part of it. So it's an interesting time for me. It's been about 18 minutes. I'll leave it at that. Have a great weekend. I'll share some more along the way. If you have any comments on Nutrisystem, if you have any comments about the thoughts of a trader, a caddy, please feel free to contact me, Don at donmillereducation.com. I don't follow the Twitter a whole lot other than to get stuff out there, and the best way to reach me is probably via email. So God bless you. I hope you found that somewhat helpful, or at least intriguing, thought-provoking. Have a great rest of the weekend, and if you're in the Northeast, stay warm. Thanks all. Take care. Bye.